I want to clear the confusion of the future Maitreya Buddha that many Buddhists are confused about, that many New Age communities have been falsely taught different things about Maitreya Buddha, and that some believe that there are many incarnations of Maitreya in this earth, some believe they are the incarnation of Maitreya, and some believe Maitreya Buddha has already come and gone. So there's all of these different various degrees of confusion with the Maitreya Buddha. And Maitreya Buddha is a Buddha known to come after Shakyamuni Buddha. But somehow the demonic forces have brought the attention of many people to Maitreya Buddha and is trying to make them focus on Maitreya Buddha rather than Shakyamuni Buddha, who is actually the Buddha of this eon. And he has completely given all the teachings that we need for this specific time, that we need for this eon, or for the time that we are alive in. We need Shakyamuni Buddha's teaching, and that's why he incarnated in our time, and we benefit from his teaching and not Maitreya's, because Maitreya is not born. Maitreya is still a bodhisattva. He's not a Buddha. You have to be born in this earth, and you have to go through what Shakyamuni Buddha went through, leaving his home, becoming a bodhisattva, going to the forest, giving up everything, putting on a monk's robe, barefoot with a begging bowl, then you go out and achieve your Buddhahood. That's how you attain Buddhahood. So Maitreya has not done that yet. Maitreya is not born in this earth. He has not renounced his family. He hasn't gone into the jungle with a begging bowl. So Maitreya is not a Buddha yet. So they have to do all of those things to become a Buddha. So Maitreya is actually still a bodhisattva in heaven. Sakyamuni Buddha has fulfilled all that, done all that, achieved his enlightenment, gave his teaching to us for what we need for our specific time, what we need to achieve for our specific problems. Our Buddha, our teacher, Buddha is a teacher, our great teacher, the light of the world, the current light of the world, the current teacher of all the gods and humans, not just humans, but teacher of the gods and humans, is Shakyamuni Buddha. But somehow the demonic hierarchy are teaching or bringing Maitreya to the forefront, though Maitreya is not a Buddha, he's still a bodhisattva. Shakyamuni Buddha is a complete Buddha who has achieved his complete enlightenment and fulfilled what he came in earth to fulfill in order to purify this earth, in order to teach the three vehicles, and in order to assist humanity during the end times and during all the period since he was born up to this end times. Everything that we needed to learn and everything that we needed spiritually in terms of wisdom, Shakyamuni gave that to everyone. We are under the Shakyamuni reign. We are under the Shakyamuni teacher. So we have to focus on Shakyamuni and not Maitreya. So demons will always make you look elsewhere. Demons will always make you look somewhere else. They'll always make you look into the future, and then you forget the present. You forget your work at hand. You forget what you're meant to be learning and doing, and you expect and you look into the future like, oh, this great and mighty Maitreya is going to incarnate and teach and create a golden age. That's the fantasy programming of the demonic hierarchy. They keep us in that fantasy world of the future while we are not focused on the present, that all the teachings that we need has already been given to us by Shakyamuni Buddha. So you have to watch out for this kind of mind control, psychological operation, that they're trying to conceal the teachings, or to conceal the identity, conceal the presence of Shakyamuni by putting your mental focus, your mind focus in the future Maitreya. So that's a way of concealing what's right in front of you, is to take your mind and put your mind into the future rather than in the present of what we have to do. So that's a way of the demonic hierarchy to conceal what's right in front of you. So these are the different types of magic tricks or black magic or mind control, MK Ultra, that they operate through to confuse us. So Maitreya Bodhisattva confusion. So that's a massive confusion. It's everywhere. So Maitreya is still a Bodhisattva. He's not a Buddha. He is a Bodhisattva awaiting his enlightenment, or he will come down to this earth and go through exactly what the Buddha went through, renouncing his family and going into the forest with a begging bowl and a robe to attain his Buddhahood. So Maitreya has not done that. So Maitreya is not a Buddha yet. He's a future Buddha, but currently he's a Bodhisattva. So Maitreya is not classed as a Buddha yet. Maitreya means loving friend. So his name means loving friend. In Nepalese, it's like Mitra means friend. So Maitreya is like Mitra, friend. Doesn't teach Vajrayana. So Maitreya does not teach Vajrayana. As I've spoken about in my previous video, you can go have a look at that there are only 3 Buddhas that teach the Vajrayana. And Shakyamuni Buddha is the first one to teach the Vajrayana. And we are the first generation that are under the rulership of Shakyamuni that taught the Vajrayana. So we are directly related to the Vajrayana. And we will be doing the Vajrayana because Shakyamuni taught that for us, for our time, and for our need and what we need. So Maitreya does not teach Vajrayana. So Shakyamuni Buddha is the first Buddha to teach Vajrayana. You have to wait for the 11th Buddha to teach Vajrayana. Shakyamuni is the 4th Buddha in that category. So the 11th Buddha will teach Vajrayana, and after that the 1000th Buddha. So Maitreya doesn't teach Vajrayana. So that in itself already proves that Maitreya Buddha is not for our eon, because we actually have to do the Vajrayana. So the height of Maitreya when he comes, he will be 88 cubits, so 132 feet, 40 meters. So imagine how giant that is. And their lifespan is 88,000 years. So that is not even in our time. So we have to understand that Maitreya is like a completely different being. And apparently even the people in that time will live a very long time, and they're all like huge like that. So it's not for our time. 8th Buddha after Shakyamuni. So Maitreya is known as the 8th Buddha after Shakyamuni, which is like the first 7th set of Buddhas. So the Shakyamuni Buddha is the last Buddha in the 7 Buddha set. He's the last Buddha. And Maitreya is the 8th after that. So he's after Shakyamuni. Maitreya falsely taught as the second coming of Christ by the New Age teachers, Satan's confusion. So Maitreya is falsely taught. So Maitreya, a Buddha, or the Maitreya Bodhisattva, is falsely taught as being the second coming of Christ. So this is a very narrow view of spirituality, and you can only convince ignorant fools to believe this kind of stuff, because Buddha is not the first Buddha and Maitreya is not the second Buddha. So you cannot say Maitreya is the second coming. That's very dumb. Buddha Shakyamuni is the 7th Buddha and Maitreya is the 8th Buddha, and there'll be the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, up to 1,000 Buddhas. So within this lens, when you say Maitreya is the second coming, because after Buddha, Lord Buddha Shakyamuni is Maitreya Buddha, that's a very narrow view. That's only looking at 2 Buddhas. That's only looking at Shakyamuni and Maitreya. That's only looking at 2. So there are many Buddhas before Shakyamuni and many Buddhas after Maitreya. So this view, when they say Maitreya is the second coming, Maitreya is actually Jesus Christ, that's only looking at two Buddhas. That's a very narrow view. So you're like Shakyamuni and then Maitreya after that. So Maitreya is Christ. That's a very narrow view. But there is a long list of Buddhas that Shakyamuni is the 7th and Maitreya is the 8th in a long list of 1,000 Buddhas. Satan perpetuates this type of confusion. Satan perpetuates this kind of narrow view. So he exploits what we know, what we don't know. So for our generation, he will exploit Shakyamuni and Maitreya, because we only have Shakyamuni. We don't remember the other Buddhas. We don't know the other Buddhas. So we only know Shakyamuni. So he'll exploit that, and he'll say, oh, the next one is Maitreya. So they will exploit that premise because we don't know the many Buddhas of the past, and we don't know about the many Buddhas of the future. So they'll be like, oh, Maitreya is the second Buddha, so he's actually Jesus. The second coming of Christ is Maitreya. So those are all false teaching, and that's how Satan confuses everyone. And Satan is known to manipulate time. So he's manipulating time here because he's manipulating our time. He's using the Shakyamuni Eon to manipulate Maitreya as the second coming of Christ. So he manipulates time. The New Age community believe that Maitreya is Christ, but that's not true, because Christ himself, or Yeshua, Son of God, Jesus Christ, himself is a complete Buddha. So Christ has already achieved his total Buddhahood, but Maitreya is not a Buddha yet. Maitreya is still a Bodhisattva, but Christ was born on this earth, achieved his empty form. He achieved his Sunyata Bimba, which is called the empty form body. He has already achieved that. He's already achieved form is emptiness, emptiness is form, through his crucifixion and resurrection. Yeshua, Son of God, Jesus Christ, is a full Buddha. So he's already attained his Buddhahood. He's not a Bodhisattva. He's not awaiting his enlightenment. He's already completed his mission. He's a full Buddha that has achieved his Sunyata form body. So Maitreya is not a Buddha. Christ is already a Buddha. Maitreya is still a Bodhisattva. Christ is a full Buddha. According to the Buddhist system, Christ is a full Buddha. If you study Christ's life and if you study Christ spiritually, Christ is a full Buddha. And specifically, Christ has already achieved his Sunyata form body, the indestructible, eternal body, which Christ has already achieved. So in the New Age teachings, or the Satanic teachings, they teach Maitreya is Jesus Christ, the second coming, because Maitreya comes after Shakyamuni, and that's a very narrow view. So over here, you'll hear this Alice Bailey, which is like the Theosophical Society. These are all satanic based. Ascended Master, Benjamin, these are all satanic system. So they're all satanic, they're all demonic based. So over here it says, she expanded Leadbeater's work and his Christology and referred to Maitreya as the cosmic Christ, stating his second coming would occur sometime after the year 2025. So we are in the end time season, and this is not hard for Satan to know that we are in the end time season 2025. Beyond, or since the COVID-19, we are already in the end time seasons. Since the installment of the digital ID, we are already in the end time season. So these types of datings are not that difficult. It's very easy for Satan, because Satan knows when the end times is. He actually has to do the end times. He has to bring in the financial system. He has to do the digital ID. So God will tell him when to do it. Our Father in heaven will tell him when to do it. So these, don't be like, oh, but he said 2025 is the second coming of Christ. Because they already know digital ID is already everywhere. So that's already like the end times. So Satan already knows the trajectory. He already knows the timeline. So don't fall for these things. So don't fall for these dates. These dates are real, but don't fall for it, because Satan knows the dates, and he will manipulate the dates like this. So if you're like, Maitreya is the cosmic Christ and the second coming is going to happen after 2025, it will happen after 2025, somewhere, sometime after 2025. It will happen, but that doesn't mean Maitreya is the cosmic Christ. It just means Satan knows the trajectory. And just look at your digital ID everywhere. That is the precursor to the financial system, Mark of the Beast. That is the technology that will test humanity during the end times, and that's a spiritual technology. Spiritual technology given to the Antichrist, Satan, the beast system by our Father in heaven to test humanity. And you have to overcome that. So this one is a satanic teacher. This Alice Bailey is a satanic teacher, and they are teaching the cosmic Christ, Christology. They're teaching all this. That's all Satanism, has nothing to do with the Son of God. So they have propagated that. So this Alice Bailey has propagated Christ as Maitreya, but there's no Christ. The Christ concept doesn't exist. The Christ could be the Antichrist. And they've mixed everything here. They've mixed the second coming, Christ, Maitreya. They've like mixed all of it, and that's what they do. They mix things. According to Buddhist tradition, each kalpa has several Buddhas. The previous kalpa was the glorious eon, and the present kalpa is the auspicious eon. The 7 Buddhas of antiquity are 7 Buddhas which bridge the last kalpa and the present kalpa. They began with Vipassana and end with Gautama. So there are 7 Buddhas, so you can go look up the 7 Buddhas, and in that 7 Buddha list, Gautama Buddha Shakyamuni is the last Buddha, and Maitreya is the 8th Buddha in this line, and there are up to 1,000 Buddhas in this line. Doesn't end with Maitreya. According to tradition, Maitreya is currently a bodhisattva who resides in the heavenly realm of Tusita. When the dispensation of the Buddha Shakyamuni is no longer present in this world, Maitreya will take his final birth in this world as a fully perfected Buddha and begin teaching the beings of his time. So he won't incarnate as a fully perfected Buddha because he has to go through the same thing as Lord Buddha went through. He has to renounce his family life. He has to go to the jungle with a begging bowl and attain his complete Buddhahood. So he has to go through the play in full as well. So Maitreya has to do the same thing that Buddha did, and then he will attain his full enlightenment. So these are all fantasy based. When they say, oh, he's born as a full perfected Buddha, he'll teach his great teachings and everyone will become enlightened and we'll live in a golden age. So that's all the satanic fantasy based systems, because they are not grounded in reality, because they live in a different reality system to the humans. So they have a fantastical fantasy based reality. In our human world, we are not fantasy based because we live in this bardo state, and we don't live like the gods, or we don't live like the hell beings. We're somewhere in the middle. So we have suffering, and we have a real life. We go through life, we go through suffering, we go through pain, we go through pleasure, we go through everything. So our life is not fantasy based. Our life is reality. We walk the earth, and we experience the raw nature of life. Whereas like Satan and stuff and his clan, his race, they live in a different world system, and they don't live as organic beings like us. They have like a different reality system. So that makes them deluded. They don't have pain, they don't have suffering. They live, Satan and his clan have been living since the beginning of the human race. Since before the beginning of the human race, they have been alive. And they don't age, they don't die, and they don't have suffering, they don't have poverty, they don't have any of that. So they live in a fantasy mindset. The whole life structure facilitates that fantasy mindset. But for humans, it's very real. We live a raw life, and we go through a lot. And the Satanists, they put us through a lot as well. So we live a real life and they live a fantasy life. So all of these articles are all coming from Satan's world. They are writing them. And when they teach on that fantasy-based teaching. They're like, oh, final rebirth as a fully perfected Buddha. It doesn't work like that. In this earth, you have to go through the suffering. You have to go through the learning. To attain full enlightenment is not a fantasy. So everything they teach is fantasy-based. That's why you have all the music and movies. How to be a billionaire, millionaire. All that is a fantasy. So they're teaching fantasy. Teaching you about something in the future that might happen, might not happen. So they just give you like a dangling carrot. It's not reality. Humans, we embody reality. We embody non-fantasy because we live in the real world. But Satan, they are all fantasy based, and they teach like fantasy based things.